Tristan Thompson has played for almost a decade in the NBA, a former number 4 pick. This year, 12-10. He went to 4 straight finals with LeBron James. They're still tight, and Tristan is joining us, the Cavs center, via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. You know, it's interesting. With LeBron, I always said this, Tristan. First of all, it's great to have you on the Fox team, so thank you so much for stopping by. You look great. Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I'm trying to look as good as you.
Thank you. So, I was talking about this with LeBron. Like, obviously, he and Chris Bosh worked, but LeBron likes an open lane so he can drive to the basket, and Chris Bosh sometimes got pushed out. Kevin Love, LeBron likes the open lane. Sometimes he pushed Kevin a little out. But Anthony Davis and LeBron have really worked from almost day one. What do you think the magic is with Anthony and LeBron? Because it doesn't feel like Anthony is giving up any of his game for LeBron.
Yeah, no, with LeBron, I know this for sure, is that he wants to surround the offense around AD. I think it was very similar to when we had Kyrie and K-Love, where he wanted, Kyrie and K-Love to get going early. And then, once that happens and they have a good rhythm and flow, then LeBron can kind of play his game. He's such a mastermind in terms of, like, how he approaches the game on, early. Let's, like with the Lakers, let's get AD going, turn 5 early, turn 4. Let's get him going. Let's let him, get his rhythm and cause some mismatch problems. And then LeBron is the point guard for their team. He's going to be able to open it up and run pick and roll and put pressure on the rim.
What I worry about with the Lakers, Tristan, this having been in 4 straight finals. We know LeBron and AD will score. But this league is often about somebody steps up and grabs that number 3 guy steps up. It was Shane Battier maybe in Miami, or a Ray Allen, or a Matthew Dellavedova. Sometimes, or you have a night and it is a game in which who's the 3? Who's the 4? Can I trust Kyle Kuzma? What do I know about Danny Green? Who's LA's 3?
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's very similar to when K-Love went down in 2015 with the shoulder injury against Boston. A lot of teams are wondering, who's going to be that 3rd guy to step up. And I think for the Lakers, it's going to be by committee. I think every night will be a different guy. I think it depends on the matchup. One thing about the playoffs, it's all about matchups. So certain matchups benefit other players. It could be they have a matchup where, their bigs are going to be dominant, where it could be a guy like Dwight Howard that has 10 and 8 off the bench, or JaVale McGee that has a double-double. It all depends on the matchups. But one thing about the Lakers we know is that they have guys that with championship DNA, whether it's Danny Green, Rondo, J.R. Smith. And you got guys that have their backs against the wall, like Dion. Those guys have something to prove. So when it comes down to who will be the 3rd star, I think it varies every night. Of course, yes, from the beginning of the season, it's going to be Kyle Kuzma. Everyone's been saying that about him. But also, we don't want to put the pressure on him. I think for him, if I'm his teammate, it's like, just go out there and play your game. We know it's your first time in the playoffs. We're going to do it as a group. We're all going to be basically the 3rd star.
Doc Rivers and Ty Lue are guys that have championships as coaches. The Clippers are fascinating. They put 2 stars into the team. Paul George and Kawhi had never played together. And Paul had an injury, and Kawhi takes some time off. So the team hasn't played a lot together, Tristan. Is that concern you that there isn't really great chemistry yet? Can they flip the switch, in your opinion?
I think they can flip the switch. I played for T. Lue, and T. Lue is definitely a disciple of Doc Rivers and comes from that regime and that umbrella where, Doc's whole thing, similar to T. Lue, is let's just make sure everyone's healthy going into the playoffs. Whether they're the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed. T. Lue would tell us, I don't care what seed we're in, because when we get to the playoffs, nobody wants to see us, and our dogs will be ready to go. So I think Doc has a mentality where he's got pit bulls on his team. He's got, we know they got the Kawhi and PG, but he's got pit bulls. He's got Pat Bev. He's got Lou Williams. Montrez is playing with a lot of motivation and hungry. So I think with their team is just get healthy and get to the playoffs. And I think they'll figure it out. Their coaching staff and the players that they got, they're all going to rally together and be able to flip that switch.
Zion's an amazing player, but he's been on minute limits. He's been hurt several times. And Tristan, you've been in this league long enough to know some dudes just get hurt a lot. That's just the way their body is genetically. Some guys don't. Some guys they just ball and they don't get hurt. The guy running the Pelicans, David Griffin, their GM. You know him well. I've always liked him. Do you think they're handling Zion the right way?
Oh, yeah. Well, Griff knows basketball to a T. He's worked under Colangelo in Phoenix, and I've known Griff since Adidas Nations in high school, him coming to watch me play as a scout for Phoenix. So he knows his basketball, and at the end of the day, I think what they're doing is the right thing. At the end of the day, Zion is their franchise player, and you want to do what's best to get the most out of the kid long term. If they try to run him to the ground right now, it's unfair to the kid, and it's unfair to their franchise, and it's unfair to their fans because, listen, of course, do they want to win a championship this year? Would they love to? Of course. But are they built to win a championship this year? If they fall short and they make the playoffs to lose first round, I don't think Griff would be upset. I think for him, he's looking at where is this team going to be 3 years from now, 2 years from now? And I think that's how their approach is with Zion.
So Philadelphia is a team with a ton of talent, but I just don't think Simmons and Embiid work together. That doesn't mean they're not both great. But there are times in the NBA where dudes don't play together well. They don't work. I think Simmons is not a shooter, so he needs an open lane, but I want Embiid in the lane because that's where he's dominant. Is it when you play the Sixers? I mean, they've moved a lot of parts, Tristan. Do you kind of feel when you play them, super talented, but it just doesn't fit always that well together?
Well, obviously with Ben now out, who knows how long he's going to be out for with his knee injury. That obviously changes their whole team dynamic. When we play Philly, they really want to get the big fella going and get Joel going to cause, mismatch problems and command a double team. But I know a lot of people wonder, can Ben and Joel play together? I think they can. I think you have to. We know these two guys are the franchise pieces. They're the cornerstone, right? So as Brett Brown, you just got to figure out which pieces can we align them with to bring the best out of them. So yes, Ben Simmons is not a three-point shooter right now in his career. And we know Joel wants to, handle everything in the paint. So we just got to find guys that can make shots. That's why they brought Tobias to be able to make shots. Josh Richardson, he's another guy that can make shots. So that's what they have to figure out. I think right now what they're doing, putting Ben at the 4, is getting him on a second side action, which can cause mismatches. They run the play A to B where they have the handoff with the point guard to kick it back to Ben on the opposite elbow where he goes to the dribble handoff with either Josh or Tobias. And I think getting Ben in those actions on the second side is where, with him not being a three-point threat as of right now, it can still work in their offense. So I think what Brett Brown's doing, trying him at the 4, could cause mismatch problems to get him on the second side to be a primary ball handler to force the mismatches, especially with the shot clock winding down to, down to 10 and below.
It's funny. When you're with LeBron for all those years, I get to see game LeBron. You got to see hang out on the road and practice LeBron. Take our audience, Tristan. Was he an intense practice player? What do you miss about LeBron the dude? Just being that you guys were rock stars in America. You're the traveling band in America. Beyond, playing in finals, what do you miss about that experience?
I just miss just having, in my eyes, one of the greatest players of all time to be able to. Actually, a great story is when LeBron first came back, and it's me, Kyrie, and Dion. Training camp doesn't start till end of September. So he texts us in a group chat like, hey, after Labor Day, let's get back to work. So I think it's like September 6th. So me and Kyrie, we come in there. Dion, we get in there. I think workouts start at 11. We're in there around 10:30, and LeBron's in a full drenched sweat. And for us as 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds, we're like, man, like the best player in our game, he's in a full drenched sweat from just lifting, and he's there before all of us. And just seeing that as a young player, that's greatness right there. That's a guy that understands what it takes to be great and what builds a real culture in a franchise. And seeing that there, you miss that. So for myself and guys that have played with him, I think we just try to be a sponge and try to show that to the younger guys falling behind us. Because at the end of the day, LeBron, he's great and he wants to pay it forward. He wants to pay his knowledge forward so that younger generations can understand how to treat this game, and what you put in is what you get out. So I always miss just having that, one of the great players just in your locker room every day just to pick his brain, and, obviously great dinners and, He knows all the good food spots, and he knows his red wine, so I miss those. So now it's on Kev to pick the wine.
Hey, it's great seeing you. Congrats. We love having you on the Fox team. Tristan Thompson, thanks, my man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.